Hey, before the podcast gets started, make sure to go cop some t-shirts. I'm gonna take you out to the website. YouTube demonetized me, so your boy broke as fuck. So if you want to help support me, hold on, let me pull this up. Oh, this is Stu's site. You can fuck with Stu too, but let me show y'all mine first. I'm the priority here, motherfucker. This is my shit. All right, so you got the Game Time tee, Game Time on the front, oversized tee, Team Macho on the back. You got the I'm not a fucking scientist. I'm not supposed to curse in the first minute, but fuck it. I'm already demonetized, niggas. Facts. So yeah, I'm not a fucking scientist. I'm a bodybuilder. Yeah, so whatever you want to fuck with it. If you don't want to fuck with it, that's okay too. All right. So yeah, like if you want, hey, if you don't even support me, if you support Kane, if you like dogs, if you want Kane to stay on his diet, you know what I'm saying, keep getting brolic, keep getting buff, fuck with some t-shirts. All right. If not, Kane gonna be hungry. I'll put the camera on him, but he's sleeping right now. They don't. That's why I said buff. I'm like, they don't know what brolic mean. If you're not from New York, you probably don't know. But anyway, support Stu as well, because he do this podcast. And I like to support my friend's business. Unlike everybody else who go rock Gucci and all that shit, I rock with my boys. So go cop Stu stuff, beefstew.net. He got the Fear the Fro shirt. That's my favorite right there, Fear the Fro Stu. And then he got this serious bodybuilding one, beef stew with the abs and thighs. Oh, he cheaper than mine. His is $28. Damn. I gotta drop my rate. I gotta match that rate. The motherfuckers cop my shit. But anyways, I don't want to make this too long. Team Macho, that shop, and beefstew.net. Fuck with your boys. Enjoy the episode.
You know, if you remove the balls, then they usually get fatter. But it's like the vet told us that by not removing the balls, increased the likelihood of them getting prostate cancer, especially in that breed, which is interesting.
Yeah, man. And like, but like the behavior, a few people told me that it's not going to stop. He's going to keep playing like that because
like that, they don't know how strong and rough they are, you know. Like Jack's really good. He loves people, but he doesn't understand, even still at an old age, how strong he is. Like I have to tell people, like, he's nice, don't worry, he's nice, but like he'll like rip my arm out of the leash and like, you know, he wants to like go at people hard, but he would never actually hurt anybody.
No. Yeah, never. One time, this older guy at the gym, Kane made him bleed, his hand bleed, and I was shocked. I'm like, what the fuck? But then I'm like, okay, he's older, but his skin is probably like a little weaker.
Yeah,
because I was watching him, and Kane was actually being gentle with him, but for whatever reason, this skin guy, but the guy kind of put his hand in his mouth though, like Kane went like this. You know how they nibble, and he like left his hand in his mouth, and he went like this. You don't want to do that. I mean, that's the bit. Don't do that.
Yeah, you know? Jack, when I used to wrestle with Jack when he was young, and he would get real excited, and he'd like thrash around and headbutt me, and he'd like bruise my face because of how hard it is.
Yeah, there's still. Oh, did you get Jack neutered or no?
Yeah. Yep. So he got over time. He got fatter. You know, for sure.
Yeah,
you know, he was jacked when he was little.
Yeah. Jack was jacked.
Yeah, he was jacked. Now Jack's soft. He needs to get on that HRT. There he is. Oh, here's his talking.
What do you feed him?
Royal Canine.
Is that raw or cooked or?
To be honest with you, that's what he's been on the same food his whole entire life. That's what Flex was feeding him, just dry food, Royal Canine dry food.
See, Kane stopped eating the dog food. He doesn't like he'll refuse, and I was like, okay, I won't feed him for a day, and he'll take a couple bites, still won't eat. And then he started getting skinny. I'm like, fuck. I thought, eventually he would cave and eat the fucking
Yeah.
dog
Why?
food.
What does he?
But
What does he want to eat?
he wants to eat. Now I see he wants to eat the real food. Well, they always want your food, obviously.
Yeah.
But so I saw the farmer's dog. I was thinking about it, but then I kind of looked through the ingredients. I'm like, I could make that shit.
Yeah. John Natty Shack.
Yeah, I know that one.
He had a couple of I think they were bulldogs also for years, and he told me that he fed them only like raw, chicken, meat, stuff like that, like people food, like
Yeah,
that he raised them like that their whole lives like that.
yeah. Well, so basically what I do now, I boil a bunch of chicken breasts, and I have like veggies. What's he going? Hey, no. And I have like veggies, a little bit of rice, a little bit of fruit. That's what the farmer's dog is. They basically mush it together,
Yeah.
and he loves it. The raw food, I know people that swear by it, but I also know people because the most successful ones, they've been doing that since they were babies.
Yeah.
Because when you transition to them, they're gonna have bloody stools. They
Yeah.
might throw up. They're gonna have diarrhea for a while. I don't want to go through that again right now. So,
No. That's why when I got him, I was like, whatever you're feeding him, that's what I'll feed him. And he was like, sometimes I throw an egg in there.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
I pour him too, especially because like Marissa will make eggs, but she won't keep all the yolks. So we'll throw that in there for him. But he's been eating the same food his whole life.
yeah. If it's working, no need to change it up. Like some of my friends with bullies, they're like, yeah, just give him the whole chicken and he'll eat the bones and everything. I'm like, I don't think Kane got that in him. If I give him a piece of a cooked chicken that's too big, he won't eat it. Like it has to be cut up.
Yeah, I mean, you get really different opinions on stuff like that. Like the couple times that I have ever done that, like with Jack, the bones cut his insides up, and like
Yeah,
he shit blood and stuff after that. And the vet's like, don't do that,
yeah,
So
yeah.
you know,
The vet said don't do that. They said
yeah,
he's gonna get salmonella and then he's
yep,
gonna choke on the bones. But then I see people do it and they get away with it. But I just want to take the chance. I don't want to have to deal with all that shit.
no,
So I think this is doing the job. I don't think I have to change anything right now.
that's
I think
good.
I'm gonna keep doing with this.
Yes, if it
But
ain't broke, don't fix it.
exactly. But uh, okay. Well, one thing I want to ask you how is life living with a pregnant fiance? Or you got married, a pregnant
Yeah,
wife.
American.
I've never had. Well, I guess I've gotten my girlfriend pregnant, but let's say not not past the early stages. Let's say
Yep,
that
yeah.
to be accurate.
Yes.
So
Well, the first trimester is interesting because the first trimester, I guess her hormones changed a lot. And I read so much the whole time anyway, like just because I wanted to, be as prepared as I could be. Also, I'm very patient now just from going through prison. So man, she was like real like snippy and short with me a lot when she was in the first trimester. And in my head, I was like, it's just the hormones, just the hormones. And she would even say, like, she would come home like pissed at people like during the day and stuff. And finally, towards the end of the trimester, she got like real mad at me over something. And I was like, we were laying there in bed. She was pissed. And I was like, thank God this trimester is almost over. And then once she got into the second trimester, it was like back to normal. Actually, I don't want to embarrass her if she sees this, but she got like super horny in the second trimester. And like, I guess other pregnant women are like, oh man, the second trimester sex is the best. So she'll like tell me like, hey, make sure we have sex tonight. I'm like, yes, boss. Like,
yeah,
like okay.
yeah.
But she's almost into the third trimester now, so it's been really smooth. I've been blessed with a very healthy wife and pregnancy. Some women they get those they call them a high I guess a high risk it's called where you got to be in bed the whole time. And she still trains hard every morning. She's working every day, so it's been real smooth.
Did she get sick at any point with the throwing up and all
She
that?
never got any
Really?
throwing up. She did though get this kind of like flu thing that I guess a lot of pregnant women also get this. So she didn't know what was going on, but she's actually still been kind of coughing a little bit. But she was like hacking up like crazy, man. I was like, what is wrong with you? So we called. You can get the I don't know if this is like countrywide. It might be, but down here you can get like urgent care to come right to your house. And it's not even expensive. It's crazy. I'll never go to the doctor ever again now that we did this. My buddy Billy sent me the link. So she made an appointment. They came here right on time, 2:00. And it's crazy the technology they have now. Like the girl's like, okay, we're going to listen to your lungs. They FaceTime the doctor. So the doctor's on the tablet and she's like, puts the thing on her lungs and she's listening to her breathe. She's like, let me listen to your heart. She puts it on her heart. She's like, all right, let me look down your throat. And the camera comes out and she like goes like this and you can see like 5K down her throat. It's crazy. I'm like sitting there from the back. I'm like, man, this is amazing. You know, like I'm never going to the doctor ever again. And they put her on a Z-Pack, and you know, a Z-Pack is 5 days. So after the 5th day, she's like, I don't feel any better. And I'm like, because you probably have a flu. So the Z-Pack's not going to do shit for you. And it literally lasted for like 2 weeks where I felt so bad for her, man. Like at night, she'd be coughing like crazy and they can't take anything when they're pregnant, you know, like the doctors don't even want them taking Tylenol. So she had to like grind it out the whole time. But she you know, God willing, you know, she's gotten a lot better. I told her this weekend, I'm like, you got to like take it easy this weekend, just rest. You know, somehow I haven't caught whatever this cough is, which is why I do think it's a pregnancy thing. Because a lot of other girls, they say it's called like the pregnancy flu or something like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I feel like when it comes
To that being pregnant, everybody has such a different experience. You know, you can talk to 10 different women and hear 10 different answers. And sometimes mindset had a lot to do with it. Because every time my sister has gotten pregnant, it's been horrible. She's had I don't know how many miscarriages, but she still has 3 kids. But the pregnancies, she's so sick. She's like she's dying, honestly, to the point that like we didn't want her to try again, you know. But she if you ask her, she would be like, "Oh no, it wasn't that bad," and you're like,
How
"Yeah, it kind
many
of was."
how many kids does she have?
She has 3. She has 3. You
And
know.
each time it was bad like that?
Yeah.
That's scary.
She even had a stillborn before, bro, and
Oh,
she
that's
kept
sad.
trying.
That's
But
so
like
sad.
but also when you feel like you can't do something, you're gonna want to do it more.
Worse, yeah.
You know, so even if you, because at that point she already had 1 kid, but she wanted more, and you know everybody telling her just you got to stop trying, you're gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
And but when you feel like you can't, you're gonna now you have to do it. Now it becomes a challenge. I know I have to have more kids. You know, but she would tell you it wasn't that bad just because she wanted it so bad, right? And then some women will say it's the worst thing ever. I had a client, I think she had like 8 kids, and she would train until like the last like couple of weeks, bro. To the
Yeah.
point that I almost felt uncomfortable training her. I'm like, holy fuck, this. But I'm sure she did her research. So I'm like, fuck, I don't really feel safe training you that pregnant. Holy fuck, you know. But she said she loved being pregnant. She said everybody's so nice to her. She's the her husband treats her so well, and the kids are so nice. And I'm like, that's one way to look at it, you know.
Yeah.
But
It's crazy. You know, it hits people so different. Like Kristen Graham, she's like, you know, one of the Blackstone longtime athletes. She's like the most fit woman I've ever met. You know what I mean? And she had a high risk pregnancy. That's why she never talks about it. She doesn't have any like pictures from it. She said she gained like 80 pounds. And she's somebody
holy shit.
she's used to being ripped and training like a maniac all the time. So for her it was like really mentally like challenging. It's hard for me to even like imagine her like that because she's always like ripped, CrossFit ripped year round, you know. So
yeah.
but I have a buddy who his wife, they've had 3 boys in like a total of like 4 years. It's crazy. Like I don't know how they're doing it. Like she just keeps popping them out one after the other. And she like loves it. She loves being pregnant.
Yeah, so some women are clearly meant to
Be
be.
moms, like, you
Yeah.
know, like it's their mentality, their mindset, the way they go, everything is just they're just born to be that way, you know.
Let me ask you,
And
how do you feel about, it's a much different world now, but when it comes to, this is going to, I'm sure, offend certain people.
of
When it
course,
comes to dating a woman that doesn't want kids, how do you feel about
that's a tough one because I'm reaching an age where that's so much more important to me.
that?
Whereas when I got into my last relationship, I was 23, bro. So these are things that I could take it or leave it. Yeah, I can. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, at 23, you're physically an adult. You look like an adult. You think you're an adult, but you don't even know what your morals are. You don't know
Yeah.
what your views are. You don't know anything about yourself. You think you do, though. That's the funny part of you. You think you got everything together. Oh yeah, I know what the fuck I'm doing. So at
Mhm.
that point, these kind of things didn't even cross my mind. But the longer I was in my relationship and these things would come up, then I'm like, holy fuck, we really not on the same page, you know. But in
Yeah.
my head, I'm like, it's gonna work out anyways because she was such a good person, you know. But being a good person, even being in love, is not enough to keep a relationship together. There's so much other factors that you have to think
Of
about,
course. Yeah.
you know. The divorce rate is, I don't know what now, maybe 70%, right? But it's like, do you think these people weren't in love? Of course they were. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So it's not that simple. So now I'm a lot more thorough with that. And even if you like somebody, there's certain things that has to be part of it now. Like that to me is something that I do want now.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't want it before, but it was like some other time. But then I'm like, that time becomes now. It goes from being sometime in the future to, well, it's gonna be soon now at this point.
Yep.
So that is something that I want now, and I would prefer somebody with no kids. Um, that's not like a personal attack or a character thing or anything like that. Just I want to have the first kids with that person. You know,
Yeah.
that gets more and more difficult the older you get to find,
Does. Mhm.
you know, because the good ones are taken sometimes, a lot of times. Sometimes not though. You know, there's more women than men, so banking on that. You know,
Yeah.
but most importantly, also like, is this person a good mom, or will the other person have the potential to be a good mom? You know, and that's what men look for.
Yeah.
You know, you see these podcast clips, right? And then the girls are like, "I'm independent. I make my own money."
Yeah.
And like, and it's like basically, so you're an adult, is what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, with all due respect, usually the girls that you see in those podcast clips acting like that, there's guys don't want them. You know what I
No,
mean?
they don't. They don't. Because the thing is, a lot of times, sometimes they call out traits that they look for in a man,
Yep.
but we're not women. We're not looking for what job you. With all due respect, we're not looking for what job you work. A lot of times, we're not even looking at your highest level of education or those kind of
No.
things. We're
Mm-mm.
really looking for kind of like, are you nurturing? Are you
Yeah.
caring?
Mhm.
Like traits to be a good mom. Same way women look for traits to be a good dad. That's why they want financial security and emotional security and, you know, shit like that, because they're looking for like a good partner. That's what we look for too. Like, would you make a good mom? When you really break it down, that's all we're really looking for. So all the other things, like, we don't really give a fuck about that. We don't really
Yeah.
care. You know, like looks is what attracts you to talk to somebody. But let's
Mhm.
be real, like a couple of years later, it's not. I mean, we still want to be attracted, but it's not at the top of the list. It's really
No.
not. You know.
When I was young, all I cared about was looks, you know.
Me too.
Also, but when I was young, I would do whatever. I would do all kinds of crazy shit, you know. Once I
Yeah.
got in my 30s and I was kind of tired of just going around and like banging random girls, and I actually really wanted to find, I would just get it out of the way right away. I remember I was on a date with a girl that I thought was so beautiful, right? I was
Mm-hmm.
so happy that she said yes. And we sat down and she wound up being like not as cool as I thought. And then it just came out in conversation. I was like, you know, because at this point I'm like 30, you know, whatever years old. I'm like, do you want to have kids? And she goes, absolutely not. And I go, no. She goes, absolutely not. She goes, I have my chihuahua. That's my child. I swear to God, I went like this. check this. And I ended it right there. She was like, seriously? And I'm quiet, Reese. And I was like, honestly, that's where I'm at in life. And a woman that doesn't want to have kids, that's a red flag for me. And she's like, why? She was like, I want to have my life to myself and do the things I want. I go, so you're real selfish. I get it. That's okay. You have the right to be, but that's just a red flag to me. I don't want to be the guy to try to convince you otherwise, you know?
Yeah, like I always say, it's not like an attack on you as a person. It's just us compatibility. It's just that's it, right? So it's not like you're a bad person per se, right? We're not saying like it's just that this is not going to work. It's just not going to work. And you to sit there and fake smile for another couple hours is just it's just not it's not real. You know what I'm saying? So, but I think it's becoming increasingly harder, especially depending on where you live. If you live in New York City or LA, I mean it's gonna be tough.
Oh yeah.
The funny part is this is what I would have loved this in my early 20s because it's easy to get laid, right?
Yeah.
Anybody can get laid because there's so many girls and that's what they want to do. With all due respect, they kind of want to hook up, you know. But to find a woman that you can take seriously, that's the hard part. Which is funny because when you're younger, you're trying to do the opposite,
Yeah, and it was harder to get laid back in the day. We had to actually go on dates and shit. There was no Instagram or anything back then. You couldn't slide into DMs. Don't get me wrong, I made use of that when it happened, but. From 2000 to 2010, there would, you'd have MySpace parties and shit like that, but you have to go and actually put in the work. But there was a whole courting process that the women appreciated too. All that is gone now. And honestly, there are so many single moms now. So as a guy, I dated a girl with a daughter, and I loved her daughter. So when we broke up, that was really hard, So after that, I was like, I'm not doing that again. But I will tell you, when you meet a single mom, there is something extremely attractive about a good mom. You know what I mean? So a lot of times you see single moms like, damn, she's working so hard. She's doing this. She got nobody helping her. It becomes a very attractive quality,
Yeah. Very good point. Very, very good point. Yeah, man. I feel like in general, okay, so let's say for instance, like you said, there used to be a courting process. Nowadays, honestly, if a girl wants to hook up with you, they just say it.
I know.
Online. I wouldn't say girls walk up to me in person or anything like that. Maybe at a club, which I don't do anymore. Mm-hmm. But online, they'll literally tell you. And I've had that happen, And it's funny because you would think you would have to make the move. You do if you're the one. Maybe if you want to aim up, if that's you know what I mean by that. But if it's just a random girl who wants to hook up, they have no issue just letting you know, right within 2 conversations, which would have been nice some time ago, which didn't happen before. But now it's kind of it makes me think, how many times have you done this with how many guys?
Of course, yeah.
And usually by the body language, you can tell. It happened to me once with this girl. She lived 15 minutes away. Hit me up. We talked maybe twice. And then she's like, hey, what are you doing tonight? I'm like, oh, I'm about to sleep. Hey, come over. She said, let's go out for drinks. And it was 2 a.m. I'm like, drinks where? What are you talking about? She's like, oh yeah, you could. She was trying to, you could just come over then. You could have just led with that because there's no going out. And I came over, and the way she was so militant about it, park right here, boom, boom, boom. Mm-hmm. I'm like, this girl does this shit all the time. You want a drink? Okay, no, I don't drink. Okay, look. She was so on point with it. And I'm like, it almost looks rehearsed. I'm like, how much time has she done this? So that's kind of already a turn off, but I mean, she's cute. You're already there. You might as well finish the job.
Bro, I don't know if I ever told you this story because we've talked so many times, but I got catfished before catfishing was even a thing, back in the day. So I was dating a girl and I broke up with her. I'm 25 years old. We were together for 5 years. And so, MySpace was over and it was kind of like Facebook time now, right? So I go on Facebook and my chat box pops up and this girl pops up and she's like, "Hi, handsome," like all like flirty. And I'm like fresh single. So I'm ready to go out there. And it's a weeknight. Back then you had to go to the clubs, to meet girls, you had to go and actually talk to them. So I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" So it turns out the girl lived really close to me. And her picture, her face was really cute. And she had like huge boobs. And I'm a big boob guy, right? So I was like, "Hey, you know what? I just noticed your address, total creeper." I'm like, "You live like 10 minutes away from me." And she goes, "You should come over." I go, "I'll come over right now." She goes, "Really?" And I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "Come over." I'm like, "Screw it." So it's like 11 o'clock at night. And I'm like, "Damn, man, this is how easy it is. This is wonderful." So I drive to her house, right? And man, I go down this long ass driveway. Her house was like the house out of like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, right? It was shady as hell. There's no lights anywhere. And I get up to the door and I knock on the door and the door opens and this chick comes out and she just like barrel hugs me. And I'm telling you, this girl was taller than me and like at least 250 pounds, right? Like just a huge chick. And so I'm like, whoa, she smushes her face into mine. It was like not a good kiss. She's like, go downstairs. My mom's upstairs. And I'm just like, what the hell did I get myself into? So I go downstairs and there's all these little, those little wiener dogs, the dachshunds. There's tons of them all over the place yapping around. I get downstairs. I'm like, what's up with all these dogs? And she's like, "Oh, I breed them on the side. Don't worry, I'll put them away." And she put them in this little like playpen area. So they're yapping like crazy. And I'm like, what the hell did I get myself into? She shoves me down on the bed. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like a national level, like, great shaped competitor. And I'm looking at this girl. She's huge. Right. So she's like, "I've never been with a guy like you before." And I'm like, "I've never been with a girl like you before either," right? So I'm like, I don't know what to do. So she's like, "Open up that drawer right there." So I open up the drawer and there's just all these condoms in it, right? Like all kinds of condoms. And I'm like, oh man, like plus I hadn't even used a condom in like 5 years, right? So I'm like looking at this girl. I take out one of her boobs, right? It's like huge. I'm like holding it like this. I'm like laughing. I'm like, this is crazy. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, turn around, right? So I turn her around and I like pull her dress up. Her ass is like this big. And in my head, I'm like, how did I go? Because my girlfriend was a figure competitor, right? Lean all the time. I'm like, how did I go to such crazy extremes? This is not what the girl looked like in her picture. So I start trying to do it. I break the condom. She's like, "Get another one." And I'm like having a hard time, like getting hard. I'm so not into it. I'm like looking around the room and I see this football on her like fireplace, right? And I'm looking at the football and I'm like, does that say Joe Namath on it? And she's like, "Damn right, greatest football player of all time, Jets, baby." And I'm like, oh, hell yeah. That actually turned me into a Jets fan. You get into it. I'm like, I faked an orgasm because I couldn't like stay hard, right? So I'm like, "Oh, it's so good, I'm gonna come." And then she's like, "That's it? No, we need more. We need more." So I'm like laying there and I'm like, "Hey, I gotta go to the bathroom." Right? So I go into the bathroom and I'm like looking at myself in the mirror, like, what did you just do? Right. So I come out and I'm like, "Hey, I'm sorry. I got to go, man. I didn't realize like I have like a lot of work to do tomorrow morning. I get into work." And she goes, "It says you're a personal trainer on your Facebook." And I'm like, "Yeah, I have clients early." And she's like, "Well, what work do you have to do now?" And I'm like, "Well, I have diets that are due." I'm like going on and I'm like looking around
trying to get out,
stuff, right? Trying to get my clothes. She had my belt around her neck and she's going like this. And so finally I get out of there and I'm like, I couldn't believe it, dude. I couldn't believe like I'm ready to leave. And I go, "Hey, how old is that picture on your Facebook?" And she goes, "Oh, it's from high school." And I go, "Oh, so it's like 10 years old?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "You should update it." And she's like, "Why?" And I'm like, I mean, you should update it. It doesn't really look like. So about a week goes by, right? And I see my boy at the gym. He has this like smile on his face. And he comes over. He goes, so, broke up with your girlfriend, huh? And I go, yeah. He's like, you meet anyone yet? I go, no. And he goes, huh. He goes, so my wife works with this girl, and her name is, and he says the girl's name. And I'm like looking at the ground.
No.
And he starts laughing and he goes, damn, bro. And I go, dude, she does not look like her picture on Facebook. And he starts dying laughing and he goes, bro, she's like 300 pounds. And I go, no, she's like 250. And he goes, bro, she's like 300 pounds. And I was like, dude,
no.
I was like, bro, I was like, she was so sweaty. It was crazy. I was like, I didn't even know what to do. And I was like, man, if this is what the dating scene is like now, dude, I was like, I'm taking a break after that.
It's rough. Hey, big girls love bodybuilders. So I'll say that. I'll say that. So if you're into that, if you're a bodybuilder into that, you'll get it. I'm laughing because I almost have the same story verbatim. Not as bad though. She wasn't. The picture was maybe 5 years ago, and she was maybe like, I don't know, 140, 150, and then she ended up being like, I don't know, maybe 200, something like that. But she was kind of cute is a bit of an overstatement. She wasn't that bad looking in the face, and she smelled nice and stuff. But I kind of I'm not really a boob guy. Well, I mean, everybody appreciates nice boob, but I don't like go for boobs particular. But she had huge fucking boobs, and they were perky and nice. So I was able to get into it I just kept looking straight at the boobs, and I was able to kind of get into it, you know. But same thing. I ended up faking. But one thing I just couldn't orgasm unless I'm really into it. It's kind of difficult. You're at this strange place. This room is congested and shit, and it's hard to let your guard down, right?
Yeah.
You got to feel safe to get that intimate. So it's kind of like I faked it. It's like you don't know what else to do, but you do it naturally. You're like, okay. what are you gonna? How long are you gonna go after it? You don't want to keep going, you know. So
no, because the longer you go, then it's embarrassing.
Yeah, and it's just and no offense, but they start sweating. They start sweating a little bit, you know, because they're a little heavier, you know. But I remember going to the bathroom, looking in the mirror, and I was a little bit embarrassed to look at myself in the mirror. I'm kind of like, I didn't want to look at myself. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? It's not that serious. You don't got to get laid that bad. What the fuck is going on? But
the girl was so big, bro, that I had to move the fat around to get to her vagina.
Holy fuck.
That's how big she was.
You know what's funny? Did part of you feel like you almost
didn't want to be rude? You kind of want to be a gent.
That's what some of my friends were like, why didn't you leave? And I was like, I didn't want to hurt her feelings. You know what I mean? Like,
you feel like an
asshole. Rude, would turn around and just leave immediately.
I kind of wonder, do girls feel like that? Or I feel like girls, it would be easy for a girl to just be like, I gotta go, you know? But
I don't know, man. Girls are gross too, though, because Marissa told me her friend told her this story. Like, she was like, have you ever hooked up with a guy that has a fupa? Marissa was like, no. And she was like, yeah, I hooked up with a guy that I had to lift his belly up to get to his wiener, and then it smelled when she went down there. And I was like, and she still sucked it after that? What is wrong with this girl?
That's one thing I can't do with a stranger. I can't like eat the box with a stranger. Ew. Like somebody, like a one night stand, somebody I meet. Nah, I can't go down there. That has to be like somebody you care about to an extent, you know.
And I had a guy. Hopefully my wife doesn't listen to this. This is not a good podcast for her to listen to. I had a guy, when I was a teenager, he took me and all my friends to the strip club, right? And we crossed over the border in New York, and we were at this place called Lace, I think it was called. And this Russian girl, I was banging down shots with this girl, right? And so finally she's like, you want to go into the champagne room? And I'm like wasted. I don't even have any money back then. And so I go back there with her, and we're like getting into it, and I'm so drunk. I'm 18 years old. She starts to like go down on me, and she's trying. I'm just nothing's happening, dude. I'm like wasted. So I flip her over, and I go down. I get under her legs, and I'm about to go down on her, and the door starts banging, and it's my friend who was like 30. He goes, no. And I'm like down between her legs. I'm like, no. He goes, no. And he picks me up and he drags me out. And we're driving home. And he goes, man, I can't take you anywhere. He's like, you don't ever eat these girls out. And I'm like, I couldn't. She was trying to do it to me. I figured out return the favor. He's like, no. He's like, God only knows what else has been in there tonight.
I feel like since the first time I had you on, every time you tell a story, I have a very similar experience every single time. You said you were like 18. I was maybe, because I was bouncing at the time, maybe 19 or 20. Maybe 19 or 20. And this girl comes up to me. So I'm like by the bar. That was kind of my spot. And the girl comes up to me and she's like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, oh, you kind of cute, whatever. And she's like, oh, you want to go to the VIP room? Or we go. She's like, I'll go down on you if you go down on me. And all I heard was, I'll go down on you. I was like, okay. So then she went down on me. And then after she was done, I pull her pants off and she's been dancing, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's not the freshest. So I'm like, fuck. So I'm taking my time, kissing around. And what the fuck I'm going to do? And then my radio goes off. But I couldn't hear what they said. Kind of, and I'm like, huh? What? Okay. I'm like, oh shit. Okay, we got to go. And I was like, yo, that was like, I don't know who called the radio, but they saved my life because, like I said, you don't want to be a dick. Imagine a girl just gave you head, and you're like, nope, I'm not gonna do it back. After she kind of like said deal, you kind of said yes. You got but you got to think like, what? You can't. You almost can't ask for that. Like you can't ask a guy to eat your box after you've been dancing. No, it's kind of like a lot. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that mine's with the freshest, but it's on the outside. It's a little guy who got some more ventilation.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't think a girl probably shouldn't do that neither. Like at a club, I'm working, not dancing, but still, that's kind of a little nasty. But hey, that's
some
the world we live in.
Are so different when it comes to that too. Like my wife, like she's super clean, but she won't let me touch her if she's not showered.
Yeah, some girls.
She likes to be clean. That's just how it is. Like if we come home from the gym and I start like messing around with her, she'll be like, "Stop, let me shower first."
Yeah,
She does because she doesn't want to risk. She never smells ever. I'm like, you're clean. She doesn't care. She wants to be, even in the morning, like if I start like messing around with her, she's like, stop, I have to brush my teeth. And she'll like run out.
Okay, she won't be.
And I'm like, well, now I got to brush my teeth then,
see, like for my girl, I don't mind a little bit. You don't have to be fresh. Mm-hmm. If you're like my girl or wife, sometimes I don't mind a little bit of musk action going on,
Me neither.
I mean, they don't smell bad. Like to me, for a girl, okay, there are girls who smell bad, but most girls, I think most girls I've been with, even when they're like not fresh, a little sweaty, they don't smell bad. No. They just have like a scent, but it's not a bad scent to me. Sometimes I kind of get into it. Sometimes the more scent, the better for me.
Yeah, the only time that it's no bueno is if there's a yeast infection. Yeast infection has a funky smell. That's a funky smell. Yeah.
That's not a good smell.
I've had to run into that a couple times.
Oh yeah,
not with my wife, thankfully, but
yeah. Sometimes like period as well. When I was younger, I used to have sex with girls on the period, but that's not something I've done in recent time. Just more of like also a lot of women don't necessarily, well, they might want to mentally, but they don't feel the cutest, so they don't. Mm-hmm. So that's not an issue I press anymore. When I was young, I would kind of go for it, but nowadays I just take it. It's a couple of days, it'll be okay.
I was with a chick once when I was younger who said, and I this girl was annoying anyway. I wasn't really going to pursue it anymore. That every time. She said something with all the steroids that you're taking. Every time I have sex with you, I get a UTI. And I was like, it ain't me, lady. It's something going on with you. I'm not shooting the steroids into you. You know what I mean?
So once again, you just said that story. There was a girl I was dating, and she would catch vaginosis. That's the thing, right?
Vaginosis sounds like something.
It's like I don't even know what it is per se. It's like I don't know. It's like a mild Okay, you know what? Let me look it up. Let me see
Google
what that
it.
actually is. Yeah, it's like I think it's like they get like a weird scent and they maybe feel like they have an infection, but they don't. I don't know. Let me see. No, nosis. Yeah, it's coming up, so must be a thing. Okay, let's see. Share the screen. I won't go to images though. All right, or BV for bacterial
Vaginismus
vaginal.
be a
A
common
common
thing.
vaginal infection occurs when there's an imbalance of bacteria
Mm.
can cause color, smell. So she would always blame me. She would be like, "You're cheating on me. This is why I keep getting BV." I'm like, I don't know if it works like that, but I'm not cheating. First of all, we're not really together, so it wouldn't be called wouldn't be called cheating. But that I'm actually not doing that. So yeah, and then we ended up going to like a clinic, and they were like, no. This is not how you catch it. It's perfectly normal. It's just sometimes when you have a new partner or whatever the case is, it can happen or whatever. So it wasn't my fault, and then she felt bad, But
I think we always get blamed for it anyway.
but the
Anything happens,
opposite,
it has to be us.
but like the opposite route, sometimes they don't take the accountability because
This girl drove all the way from Pennsylvania to have sex with me, right? When I was in Connecticut. She drove over 3 hours, right? Drove, and I told her I have to leave by 4 o'clock. So she left in the morning, drove over by noon. We had sex, right? We had sex twice, actually. And then I was like, listen, I have to go to work. And she's like, can I stay here? I'm like, no. And so she leaves, right? Then she calls me that night and she's like crying. I'm like, what's wrong with you? And she's like, I'm sorry, I need to tell you something. And
Oh
I was
no.
so caught up in the moment. I know that the second time that you didn't use a condom, and I'm like sitting there, I'm like, yeah.
What are you gonna say? You better not say
And
what I think
she's
you're gonna
like,
say.
well, she's like, I have herpes. And I'm like dead silent, right? I don't even
Oh,
say anything. And she's like, are you there? I go, what do you mean you have herpes? And she's
mm.
like, well, I've been with the same guy for 5 years. I'm like, you have a boyfriend?
Oh
And
my
she's like, well,
God.
he's on Valtrex and he doesn't have any breakout right now. And so you can't get it unless there's a breakout. And I was caught up in the moment and, you didn't have a condom, but I felt like you should know. I go, why didn't you say anything when we
Holy
started
shit,
and I didn't put the condom on? And she's like, I don't know. And I go, if you were here right now, I would punch you in the fucking face. And she's
bro.
like, I'm sorry. And I go, what do I need to do? And she's like, well, I don't have an outbreak, but he says he has one. And I'm like, I was
Oh
like, all right.
no.
I was like, thanks for telling me now. I'm definitely never hanging out with you ever again. So I'm like, damn, I don't know what to do. I'm like going on Google. So I go, it said to go to Planned Parenthood, right? So, man, Planned Parenthood, I go in, I'm trying to I had like a hoodie on and like a hat pulled down, right? Because I was like, where I was from in Connecticut, like pretty much everybody knew me, right? So
Yeah.
Planned Parenthood, I'm driving in. There's all these people with picket signs, like anti-abortion picketers
Oh
and
my
shit.
God. Yeah. Yeah.
And then it's like me, like Juicehead. And so I'm like walking in, I go inside, and walking inside was messed up because there's like all like young girls there and stuff with their parents. And everyone's looking at me like, what's this guy doing in here? So
Yeah.
I go over to the window and I'm like, can I have some help? And the woman's like behind the counter. She's like, what do you need help with? And I go, I want to get tested for herpes. And she goes, oh, like that.
Holy
So
shit.
the doctor sees me and he's like, look, you most likely don't have anything if the person didn't have a breakout. We can't get the test results right away. And I was like freaked out. And he was like, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. So while I was waiting, because he was like, it could show up like months from now, right? So like 6 months goes by and I'm training one of my clients in the gym at New York Sports Club. He was a dentist, right? And I was like, I thought I had something down there. I started freaking myself out. And I was like, his name was Todd. I was like, Todd, listen, man, you're a doctor. I need your help. He's like, I'm a dentist. I was like, so you still went to a
Same
lot
shit.
and he was like, what do you need? I'm like, can you look at something on my, like next to my penis? And he's like, what? And I was like, please, dude, I'm freaking out. I think I might have got herpes from this girl. And so we go in the locker room and I show it to him and he looks at it and he goes, that's an ingrown hair. And he shakes his head and he walks away. And I was like, oh, thank God. But man, like all those like scary things that happened back then, it has to only be way worse now.
Yeah. I would imagine.
I think people are having way more unprotected sex now.
I think so, man. I think so. I feel like some of us get lucky because I didn't really use condoms till I was like 23, maybe.
Dude, I was so anti-condom. I was so dumb. And I used to do the grossest things. Like I would, at the very end of the night, like when I was working in the club, if we were closing down and having after hours, like bang slutty girls in the bathroom stalls and stuff. And see that girl banging another dude the next weekend. You know what I mean?
Risky stuff. And but I think, I mean, I never liked condoms, but I disliked it even more because back then I would take like Deca and shit, right?
Yeah.
So it was already, it wasn't giving me the full effect I was looking for. If I wear a condom, it kind of suffocates it a little bit. So I wanted to make sure, you know, I was valid, you know. So we've made so much mistakes in life, man, that sometimes you feel like if I could go back, but it kind of makes you who you are. Mistakes is what, because you could, you know, your parents could tell you all the shit, you're gonna do it anyways. You know, so you got to figure it out. So you can't really have regrets. The only regrets I have is maybe people that I care about that I hurt unwillingly. I think that's a valid regret. But just life choices, you got to just be okay with it. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, you learn through trial and error.
Yeah, you know, even things you're embarrassed about, things you don't like that you did, but it is part of the journey. You don't know better. You know, you don't know better till you know better. And once you know better, you have to do better. That's the important part. Because some people, you know, I don't believe in good people and bad people. I believe in choices. But if you continue to make bad choices, you know, hey, whoa, relax. Hey. When he sees the people are working outside, he thinks they're trying to kill him. Okay, take it easy, man. You think they want to sneak in? I mean, that's a good reflex, though. Yeah. So if somebody is trying to sneak in, you know, but yeah, I don't believe good and bad is just choices you make. I think if you continue to wittingly make bad choices and you don't have to, maybe you're kind of a shitty person. Maybe you're kind of a shitty person, you know. But we all make, you know, we all make mistakes. Accountability is important, though. Hey, no. Accountability is important, though. If you can look back and say, yeah, that was my fault, you know, that wasn't a good choice, that's important. If you completely disregard it and act like it didn't happen, then that's not the best character. You should be able to, you know,
that program that I was in prison was an accountability program.
Okay, yeah.
That's literally what they call it. Yeah, it's and you see like certain guys that have just not ever been able to do the right thing their whole life have a much harder time with it. But the way they look at it is, if you can get through this program where we're gonna make you be held accountable for every little thing, if you can make it through this without messing up real bad, then you'll be able to make it in the real world. And it was like you would have people stand you up every day. You know, good morning, community. Excuse me, Mr. Beatty, I need you to stand up. You're like, stand up. You know, Mr. Beatty, yesterday you were showering and you left your soap in the shower. And this is the lack of responsibility. You know, you got germs on that soap. Somebody could have got sick from you doing that. And you're like, in your head, you're like, fuck this guy. You know what I mean? But you have to accept it. You have to take the feedback, and you have to basically say what you learned from the feedback and how you're going to process it into your life. And a lot of guys, man, could not do that. Like with me in the program, I didn't care. People pulled me up constantly. It's like I got a bullseye on my back. I didn't even care. They'd be like, yo, bro, I got to pull you up for that. I'd be like, I don't care. Pull me up. But if I was going to pull somebody up, I usually only pulled up like people that I was cool with. And I'd be like, hey, let's do a pull up with this so we can look good, you know, for
smart.
But like other guys, you know, they would blindside these guys, right? And me in their position, I'd be like, whatever. But these guys, man, they'd be like, F you, man, F you. They'd get mad and they'd lose their temple. But it's like, man, if you can't handle this, then you're not going to be able to handle it. Like if you screw up at work and your boss is giving you a hard time, you know? So,
yeah. From what I've seen and heard, most people in jail don't feel like they've committed a crime, even if it was like a heinous crime, right? Like you ever watch that show on Netflix, I'm a Killer?
Yeah.
And so much of them have zero accountability.
Yeah.
There's been a few that I'm like, it's really hard to convince me. But I'm like, you know what? Yo, I believe this person. He's really being honest. He's not hiding from what he did. He's not trying to sugarcoat it. He's telling you exactly what he did and that he's sorry. He's not saying I should get out, nothing. He's not looking for remorse. He's just there to, that I respect. But so many of them, they're looking for a leeway. They keep like changing up the story in their head. Like, yeah, he lunged at me. Or they're like, oh, he lunged at him. What are you talking about? The guy was facing the other way. What are you talking about?
What do you think of all this with the Menendez brothers?
I got to be honest, man. I kind of feel bad for them.
That's what's happened to everyone now. But here's the thing. So I don't know. Because I can understand why people feel that way, right? So they came up with this elaborate story. And then, of course, it was made into this, you know, great series on Netflix, and it's brought all this attention to it. Kim Kardashian says, I want to come out and get these out. The prosecutor, who I wouldn't trust, because prosecutors are the worst people in the world, is like, they're straight up lying, right? They're lying. So there's no way of knowing, like, where they truly molested her, right? Because if all that messed up shit was happening, then, yeah, man, you'd think that you'd lose your mind over that. But there's no proof of it, and it didn't happen in the moment. Like a crime of passion, you're getting raped and you come back and you kill. They planned it all out, went in with shotguns, blasted the mom in the face, cleaned up all the shells. You know what I mean? It's a crazy thing, but that story has been sensationalized so much where everyone's like, they should be free. Like I hear people talking about it all the time. And I'm like, listen, I was in prison with all kinds of guys and they all have a story. I shouldn't say that. Some guys were like, yeah, man, I was a scammer. I was ripping people's identities off. You know what I mean? But everyone has a story of why they're not supposed to be there. So what makes them any different than anybody else? There's no way of actually knowing.
But here's the thing, right? I believe 99% of the story. But when you tell the truth, you have to tell the complete truth, including the parts that make you look bad. This is when people believe you. Anytime I've been completely, let's say in a relationship or with a girl, anytime you're so honest that you even incriminate yourself, they believe you right away because they're like, nobody would lie even if it doesn't prove their point per se. So I believe the rapes. What I don't believe is them saying that they believe their life was in imminent danger that day, that night. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. You know, I don't know if I believe that Eric was still getting molested at, I don't know, 18, 19 at that point when they killed him. I don't know if I believe that. I do believe it happened when they were younger. Just because I don't think Denzel could put on that acting performance. The way that the one brother is crying and the other one you see him trying to hold it. Like they're not trying to force tears. They're really trying to hold it, and they're very uncomfortable talking about it. You know. Also, if it was just one, if it was one child who did this, it would be harder to believe because one child could just be a nutcase. But for them to plan this together and both be kind of off their rocker enough to do that, something had to have happened. Whether it was to the extent they said or not, there would have to be something that fucked them up bad enough for both of them to be killers. You know, so I believe it. I don't know to what extent. Hey, and I don't even know anybody who will be fucked up enough to even think of that story. But you can't prove it. So it's not what you believe; it's what you can prove, and you couldn't really prove it. There wasn't really any evidence to prove it. Hey, Kane, calm down, man. So that's going to be a tough one. Hold on, let me try to calm him down. This has happened before. What if they were just spoiled kids who wanted the money? We don't know. Or it could be, what if Eric seems to appear the most innocent? Mm-hmm. What if Lyle just wanted the money and he convinced him? We don't know.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So you can't just let people free just off of a movie or a show or documentary, and just because I believe them doesn't mean it's true, So,
and really in prison, everything that's done as far as rehabilitation goes, you're doing it yourself because they don't try to rehabilitate you in there.
Yeah,
they just try to bury you down.
I got to move him into the room or something. He's going on. That brings us to this other case. Let me see. I think I pulled it up. With Luigi.
Oh yeah, caught in McDonald's.
Yeah. I actually brought him up on the other podcast. They didn't know what I was talking about. They haven't been following. I'm like, damn.
Did you see what Burger King posted, by the way?
No, so somebody told me they made a post making fun of it.
Yeah, they said Burger King, we don't snitch.
That's hilarious. All right, so right off the bat, something is fishy about this, right?
Very fishy.
What exactly is fishy about it? I don't know. There's so many theories that it can go so many ways. Nobody knows for sure. Nobody probably ever is gonna know for sure. But something is not right here. What do you think is most likely going on here?
I think it's a government psyop.
Okay.
I was talking about this with a buddy of mine who was military for quite a while. Mm-hmm. And he said there's no way that anybody with any level of military training, even basic training, mm-hmm. if they were to put together a plan the way that this guy did, mm-hmm. would be caught in the wide open at McDonald's like that. Knowing there's a manhunt on you, there's just no way. There's just no possible way. Like, it's too convenient. Also, that they found the manifesto. Like, there's always a manifesto, like it's like shit from a Hollywood movie, I find it very, very hard to believe.
Well, it sounds like a bad movie.
Yeah,
like kind of a cheesy movie. Mm-hmm. The only way that he would have got caught this way is if he wanted to get caught, mm-hmm. right? But the only thing is, I don't know. Okay, so I feel like somebody wanted this guy dead, right? Yep. How would this kid know his entire schedule, where to catch him, and yep. From what I hear, he usually has some kind of security or something like that. So how would he be put in that perfect position? So the only way I could see him getting killed like that is if somebody wanted him dead.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I don't know where Luigi falls in this. If he's part of the plan, or he was coerced, or maybe somebody tipped him off the location. I don't know how that's the part I don't really understand. Yeah. But it seems like somebody wanted this guy dead, and it seems like a lot of people don't give a fuck that he's dead. It seems like,
yeah, it does seem like that. I expect some more weird stuff to happen before the end of the year and before the inauguration. I expect more strange things to happen. Did you see? I saw it on Patrick Bet David's page, that drone that was flying. And apparently NASA, whatever, they don't know what it was. And some guy said that he had like a very like high powered drone.
Yeah.
And so he flew his drone up towards the drone, and the battery just died instantly, and it crashed. Like, and the drone just kept on soaring through. I'll send it to you.
Man, the amount of shit that we don't know is probably alarming.
Yeah.
The good thing is that in 2024, we're aware that we don't know this shit.
Yep.
And we also don't believe shit that comes out of anybody in these positions. We understand that, you know, it's not always our best interest being looked after. Whereas, you know, in our parents' generation, they believe everything that was on TV.
Yeah.
I feel like we believe nothing, but rightfully so. You know,
our parents' generation, they believe every single thing that the doctor said.
Oh yeah.
Every single thing that was on the news. Mm-hmm. I had a doctor the other day actually said something that it was too high in protein and to be careful of your kidneys, and I was like, people are still saying that? Like,
yeah.
That's been proven to be not true, you know?
Yeah.
Numerous times, you know?
Yeah. My doctor told me working out and eating high protein diet should not affect your AST, ALT numbers at all. And then I literally went on my phone and brought up like a few articles, and then he was like, oh wow. And I was like, this is awkward.
Yeah, like, I had a cardiologist after I did all the tests, and he said that my heart was great. Was like, all of that weight training is horrible for you, and just because you're fine now doesn't mean you won't have a heart attack later on. And I'm like, you just did every test that told me that I was good. Like, why are you saying that now? You know,
it's insane. But I think it's a great thing for us that we don't buy everything we hear, because we shouldn't. Yeah. And I literally I'm like, what has the doctor actually done for me? Any doctor I've been to actually done for me. Yeah. I'm like, give me some Motrin, ibuprofen. I don't know. Give me something to send me home. Like, they haven't actually done shit, anything for me, really.
I'll tell you, the people that have helped me the most over the years were actually chiropractors that were bodybuilders. So they understood the human body that much more. You know what I mean? And meanwhile, people think that chiropractors are quacks. You know what I mean? They don't consider them real doctors. But the over the years, you know, Dr. Nick, me and Evan had a guy in Connecticut, Dr. Michael Trochnia. Like, those guys have done more positive for me and my overall health and injuries and sicknesses than any normal doctor, who you go there and you take a test, and if they don't see what they want to see on the test, and it's like, go see this guy now.
Yeah. My cardiologist, I was really particular. I switched cardiologists like 3 times, and then I found this guy, Dr. Yevi, and he's the best. It's always the ones that are newer, right, that seem to be the best. Because when I first got with him, I don't even think he finished his schooling, you know, and then he did now, like after the fact. But he was so much more open-minded, and he trusted. Once we talked, he understood that I had a lot of knowledge about how the heart works. Yep. He respected my knowledge, and then he didn't care. He would go on the internet while I'm sitting there and like fact check stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. And then you know, he was so much more progressive, and he understood everything. So he's the only cardiologist I want to see now. I mean, the first cardiologist I said, oh, you have left ventricular hypertrophy. That means you're gonna die, and you're gonna die in a year. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I literally had that since high school. Like, it's like athletic heart, as long as it's strong and efficient. If the ejection fraction is where it needs to be, it can be bigger. You can have a big heart. You know, you don't want a big weak heart. Now that's not, you know. So it's like, aren't these things that you should know? You've never had an athlete come to your doctor's office?
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know, so yes, some of them just don't understand it. Okay, but I did want to go over one more thing. The Arnold Classic list came out. Did you see it, actually?
I didn't look at it yet. I know Nationals is this weekend. You have any friends doing it?
Oh yeah. Sid is doing it. Also, yeah, I have a few friends. I can't think off the top of my head, but I have a handful of friends doing it.
Joe Reiser, he used to work for me. He's a good kid. He's doing men's physique. He looks really good.
Let me pull him up. Joe Reiser.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hold up, Joe. Let me share the screen so that you're not looking at me. Look at the computer.
Billy, who's the head of sales at Blackstone, is his coach.
Oh, okay, fire.
Yeah.
You said Joe Reiser. How do you spell that?
Joereizer.
Boom. Oh, he looks good. Everybody's going to this gym. I'm seeing all the guys post that Absolute Recount. I was there when I was in Texas as well. Yeah, he looks good, man.
Small ways,
Yeah.
you know. Listen, men's physique is such a crapshoot. You know what I mean? Like, I've worked with so many men's physique guys that I brought in totally peeled, and then it's like, okay, they wanted much bigger guys. Then I brought in guys in more jacked, and they picked all skinny guys. So I mean, like I told Billy was showing me his pictures today. I was like, man, he looks great. You know, like you guys did a good job. You know, it's just a matter of what they want to do.
What they go for.
You know,
we're bodybuilding clients. You can almost tell them exactly where they're going to place.
Yep.
Within one placing.
Probably. Always, yeah. Yep.
You know, but men's physique, I got to be honest. I know the criteria, but depending on who's on stage, you don't know. I had a client turn pro at the Universe, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, well, he's shredded. He has a small waist, wide shoulders. I mean, he can win. Yeah, or he could be fucking second call out. I don't fucking know. But I'm like, well, this is the best you can bring, and he won, and I'm like, wow, you know. Yeah. And I'm almost surprised. I shouldn't be, because he's the best he can be, but that doesn't mean you're gonna win. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, so I had a similar. So tricky.
Yeah, I had a similar situation where I brought this client to the point. I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's gonna win. I can't see anybody beating this guy, and he got like third. Yeah, so I'm like, well, you don't really, you know. With my bikini girls, I don't say anything about placing, because it's just this is really a crapshoot. I have no idea.
It's so subjective too with bikini. You know.
Yeah.
You never know with bikini. It's and they kind of, in my opinion, change what they like all the time. Because in the pro shows of men's physique, I can call it kind of close. It's different at the national shows. It's much harder.
Yeah.
But, you know, like with bikini, it's really like, okay, you got one girl that's in the pro shows, right? That's 5 feet tall, standing next to somebody that's 6 feet tall. How are you comparing these girls? At least in the nationals, they're all the same height, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, hey, you stop training upper body, and then the girl with the big shoulders wins, and then one girl is lean as fuck. I have a friend who's actually doing nationals, and she's like peeled. I'm like, holy fuck! I feel like she's too lean, you know, but she does well on stage. I'm like, oh, well, okay, no, that works.
I loved it when they first started the women's physique. I could nail those lineups, because like I understood what they wanted, but they've gone in a way different direction with that too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, that it looks like it became bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And then bodybuilding is still bodybuilding. I don't. The winner for bodybuilding and physique would win cross divisions.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what's going on. All right. So we knew Samson was doing it.
Yep.
We knew Andrew was doing it, but this is ballsy. I really like the fact that Lunsford is doing it.
Yep.
Because I felt like he may actually made a pause. He was like, they say I only compete once a year, and yeah, they say that because it's been true. but other than that, I think people kind of run with the idea that he's like scared of the competition. I heard that last year, so I think this is ballsy because he's showing that I don't give a fuck. I'll put it on the line. So
I like that.
That makes it. Listen, I mean, Samson has the upper hand right now, but I mean, Derek literally beat him by 2 placings a year ago. So
who's your top 5? Are you going to make predictions yet?
Oh yeah, we could do that. I'm still going to have Samson winning.
Yep.
and then I'll have lunch for a second.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is the tough part because Curry and Bonak, they're not no fucking slouches here.
Nope.
So 1, 2, I'm gonna have to go Andrew. He's just really his consistency isn't the best. The way I saw him looking at Texas, I honestly thought he could have beat Samson. I thought he
Yeah,
was
me
that
too.
good.
Me too.
But I didn't see that. We don't see that at the Olympia. This isn't the Olympia, so maybe
Yep.
I'm gonna have to go Andrew third. Sean Clarita too. Okay. Bonak beat Curry at the Olympia.
Yep.
I thought Curry looked just as good as any year. I didn't think he was. I thought his legs even looked better than his ever looked. I'm not sure exactly. The competition is coming up, but I'm not sure what they expect him to look like. He looked on par with how Curry looks to me personally, but because of that drop, uh, I'm gonna have to put Bonak in front of him because of that drop. Not that I feel like he's regressed, but because what the judges are saying that he's not there. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4 Bonak, 5 Curry, and this might be controversial. Oh, I'll pick 5 already. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I picked 5 already. But I'm gonna pick a 6. I'm gonna go Carlos Thomas Jr.
I was gonna say, so my dark horse is Carlos Thomas Jr. I was looking at the picture that he posted the other day, and his waist looks so small, and everything else looks so big. Like, I was actually like, I had to really look at it. I was like, are his legs even bigger? Like, and but
It's insane.
it's legit, you know. So if he nails his condition, this is an interesting lineup because I'm not giving up on Andrew Jack. Like I truly believe he has the greatest potential of everyone there, and I want to see him nail his condition. But for a safe bet, I would go 1 Samson, 2 Derek, 3 Andrew Jack, 4 Bonak, 5 probably Curry. But I think Carlos Thomas could upset Bonak, and I think he could upset Curry too.
We got to an era where shit is like some of these physiques are like fake. It's like something that you would have thought would be AI.
Yeah.
Imagine if 20 years ago somebody showed you Carlos.
Yep.
Motherfucker is like, it's like you're looking at Big Ramy with a men's physique waist. It's like, what the fuck are we looking at here?
Freaky.
Boy, his thighs are bigger than his waist. It's like it's the craziest shit I've ever seen. It doesn't look real. Like
No, it's crazy. I looked at so many. You know what I had to do, and I mean this in a respectful way. I don't mean it in disrespectful. I don't know him, so I don't want this to be taken the wrong way. I had to go and watch a bunch of videos to see the legs moving to believe that it wasn't Photoshop. Right?
Yeah.
But I watched a lot of videos, and you can actually see the progression of his legs.
100%. Yeah.
You know, like they've gotten deeper cuts over the years. Like obviously he's off season now. He was pumped in the most recent picture.
Yeah.
You know, it's tough for like some of the shorter guys like De La Rosa and Clarita to crack in with these bigger, freakier guys.
Yeah.
And you know, they judge Akeem Williams really hard, man. They really do.
They
because from the front and side, he beats a lot of good bodybuilders. It's just the lats in the back.
For sure. So I'm like a huge, a huge fan of Curry's physique, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Curry has literally won Mr. Olympia, has been top 2 like 3 years, has been a top 5 guy. I don't know how many years, right? Yep. And then I'll see him standing next to Akeem at the Olympia, and I'm like, is Curry really that much better than Akeem? Like, I'm looking at condition. I'm like, at this point, the last couple of years, I could say Akeem is in better condition than Curry.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But and then has gotten consistently better. And the show that he just won against who was second? Horse.
Yeah.
Where he just got his qualification. dude, he was peeled
Yeah.
at that show, inside out peeled.
Okay.
Just his lats insert very, very high.
Yeah.
And I think that there's truly nothing you could really do about that. And I think that they just judge him down for it, man, because he looks crazy from the front and he's thick as hell from the side.
This is why people say like they judge lack of weaknesses more than strengths. Because I would argue Akeem has more strengths than Curry.
Yeah.
But just that one glaring, because you can't say at one point maybe his legs were weakness, but not glaring like night and day. Whereas Akeem, the back is glaring.
Yeah.
But other than that, he has more strengths. You know what I'm saying? So it's like Curry is known mainly for his side poses and good front poses. Akeem has better side poses. I mean, I don't know if there's anybody with better side poses than Curry other than Akeem. Right? You have Ramy, you have Nexzilla, you have Curry, you have Akeem. These are probably the 4 best side poses in the entire IFBB. You know, front poses, Akeem is right there. Most muscular front double is toe to toe with Curry. The only time, even the backlash spread, I wouldn't say Curry is beating him per se. You know, if so, not by much. But the back double is where it is a big difference.
Yeah.
You know, so it's one pose, but we're talking about like a 8 versus like a 5. So it makes a big difference. But yeah, you look at them, you're like, how would this guy have been a second, third call out guy at the Olympia, and this guy has won one?
Yeah.
He's really good to be getting you know. But yeah, it's one of those things. Just that one part is crazy, you know. At that point, I would say shit, pin that shit with some synthol or something. I mean, I
don't know what he could do. You know, they insert real high. You know, Dennis Wolf's lats inserted high, but I think Akeem is inserted even higher. Actually, you know.
Yeah, it was a different look. Yeah. It inserted high, but that low back area was filled in.
Yeah, it was, and it didn't. See, Wolf's back double by was actually solid. His back lat spread, you saw, you know, because his torso was longer. It's really that back double by. There's just a lot of space there where there's nothing going on. And it's crazy, like, because he's genetically superior, you know. So it's truly a luck of the draw thing, you know. Like,
for sure,
people are like, oh, he needs to do more targeted work and this and that. I'm like,
it doesn't work that way.
Doesn't work that way, you know.
Compton had higher lats, obviously not as high as Wolf or Akeem, but he realized that no matter what he tried to target to do the low lats, you realize there are no low lats. You have one lat, and where inserts. So he noticed that his upper back would respond and keep going, but not so much his lower back or his, you know. So what he did is he just got his upper back so massive that you look at his back double and you say, that's a good back double.
Yeah.
And I could say Wolf kind of same thing. There was so much traps in upper back that you were kind of like, you know what? I'm okay with this. I'm okay. It's not traditional. It doesn't look like Phil or Ronnie, but it works.
Because those guys also, Compton, Wolf, they had really, really impressively dealt, like their delts, posterior delts, like
separated striated
stops were so separated.
I agree.
That you focused on the top of their back. You know what I mean? And so
I agree.
Akeem has huge shoulders, but it's different. It's a different kind of look.
Yeah. When Justin hits the back double, I'm honestly looking at his arms and shoulders.
Me too. But same thing. And that's how I was with Wolf too. Same type of look. Yep.
Yeah. But it wasn't like you're like, wow, great arms and shoulders, but the back is distracting me. It wasn't enough to distract me. It looked really good to me, honestly. You know, like Arnold. You ever seen Arnold's back double? It's mostly shoulders and arms, but it looks good, man. I can't lie. It looks really good. You know?
Justin also in the back had his waist was very small from the back.
That helps a lot too,
and that helps a lot with that shot too.
Yeah. So there's really no slouches here. John De La Rosa is a big deal.
Yep.
Hollingshead is a big deal. Patrick Moore has a lot of potential, but he just can't seem to add the tissue. Justin, I'm not 100% sure exactly what happened to Justin, but his body doesn't seem to be responding for the past few years. I've heard some potential reasons, but it might be offensive. So I'm not gonna speculate on that.
Save it for another show.
Yeah, but he's from the Bronx, like me. I grew up seeing Justin before he competed.
Yeah, Justin been around for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, he's I've seen him nail his condition a few times. So
he's capable of it.
Who did he work with 1 year? He was really nasty. Cement Factory, maybe.
AJ Sims, yeah, AJ Sims.
Nasty. He came in really, really good that year.
AJ, yeah, AJ seems to be able to get anybody and everybody in shape, but the issue is that they all leave him. Like I said, that might not be a coincidence, though. So two things are mutually exclusive. So the way we look at it is that if somebody brings you your best, why would you leave them?
Yep.
Well, there's reasons why. There are reasons why you could leave somebody even if you're your best look. You know what I'm saying? So there's things that are more important than how you look sometimes.
Yeah.
That's the truth of it. But because these people, they're not stupid. I mean, I'm sure he knows that was his best look as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out Carlos. I really want to see Carlos kill it. Colitis is no fucking joke.
No.
If I had that, I don't know what the fuck I would do. I'll be honest, because you can't control it. It's gonna do what
terrible.
It's gonna do. And taking medication sometimes is it's a give or take. It might be helping with one thing, but it's fucking up something else. So, how long we been on now? Hour and a half?
Yeah, hour and a half. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you down to do like maybe two questions.
Yeah.
Keep it quick. I got a client at 4. I'll be good for. All right. Let's see if we got anything good. We covered everything, right? Everything going on.
I mean, just about. Did you talk about Jay-Z yet? I don't believe it.
Yeah. So, in that position, you're gonna be around a lot of bad shit. It doesn't mean you're involved in it.
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously deal with a lot of bad shit happening around Diddy. Diddy's a grown man. You can't control what the fuck he does. Yep. Doesn't mean you're a part of it. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. Everybody's gonna have different feelings about that. I know people like to be upset. So that's something that if you want to be upset, you'll be upset. But I don't know. I mean, I wasn't there. I don't know what Jay-Z has done. It doesn't seem to align.
The fact that it was 24 years ago or whatever, and it's just surfacing now, to me seems like a money grab. I feel like people will say anything to make money now.
We got to see some evidence before we really go off. Listen, with Diddy, we already heard all these stories for decades, so it wasn't hard to believe. And then we actually saw the video of him beating the shit out of Cassie. We all already believed that before seeing the video.
Once that video came out, that was the kiss of death. It was all going to start after that.
That was it. At that point, I feel like anybody who's on the fence, they were like, okay, yeah, he got it. Because once you see that, you can't unsee it. It wasn't a heat of the moment. It was like nonstop, repeatedly. Yeah. And Cassie didn't even go after him that hard. She could have went after him way harder. I think she was just happy that he got his just due. But everybody knew about that. He beat Kim so bad that she had to get plastic surgery, and that was the story that was going around. And then she died mysteriously, and it's like, what the fuck? How? Yeah, so that it seems like a lot of people die mysteriously around Diddy. That guy, you don't want to fuck around with that guy. I'll tell you that. Yeah, but yeah, I like to see that the NFL said they're not gonna remove him, which is like, why would you remove him? Like, none has happened yet.
No, and the NFL is real soft with how they handle stuff, so I'm glad to see that too.
Me too. Yeah, we can't, like what happened to Sean Roden. You can't just, before anything is proven, you can't just completely just write somebody off. It's kind of fucked up. That could happen to any one of us, bro. You could be like, wait, what? What did I do? I
Yep.
didn't do that shit. And then you lose all your fucking businesses, and it's like,
Yep.
damn, bro. So I don't know. What's the what's the max amount of money PJ has spent in a weekend?
What I guess it's a matter of if you look into like on a partying situation. Like there was a day where I wanted to I had my Ferrari, but I wanted like a daily driver. I went to the dealership where Aaron and I used to buy all our cars, and I was like, man, I want something that I can just drive around town every day.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, we got the car for you. You're gonna love this car. And it was a Mercedes AMG SLS, and I drove it out of the parking lot, and I was like hauling ass down the road, and I was like, damn, this car is awesome. And so I went in there, and this was the stupidest thing I ever did because it wound up getting me in trouble. I bought it in full. I wrote a check for $127,000, right?
Holy shit.
So when the government was like auditing everything that I did, they looked at the way that I bought that car and the time that I bought that car and said that I bought the car with laundered funds, because back then Aaron and I used to instead of giving ourselves like a salary, we would just do like disbursements from the company, Okay. So let's say, let's say we profited, I don't know, let's say we made a profit of like $600,000, right? And bills were all paid. Aaron would say, what do you want to take out of this? You want to take $100,000? You want to take $200,000? Let's just take $100,000, whatever. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
we were making a lot of money like that. So that month I was like, I think that month we each took $200,000. Like we just paid ourselves a lot. Just two best friends making a lot of money. You know what I mean? Fuck it, let's take this out. And I was like, man, I'm gonna go buy this car. Stroke the check for it, boom. And like I should have just paid it in payments or whatever. And it the government, and I honestly earned the money, but the government looked at that as like suspicious that I went in there and did that. And so they went after that car. I modified that car. I put a lot of money into that car. I had Wise Tech Engineering rebuild the whole thing. So the car was worth like $200,000 with the mods. Mm-hmm. The government wholesaled it. They took it and wholesaled it for $90,000.
Oh, somebody came up. Holy fuck. You know how sometimes people, I guess we all do it to some extent, but a lot of times it'll be like the analysts. They'll be like, oh, this guy is, these athletes, or this guy, why would you do this or spend this much money? It's like, you got to think about this. They look like grown men, right? But these athletes, they're like from 19 to like 23.
Yeah.
They were literally living in the projects a couple years ago, and now they have a fucking $500,000 in their bank account.
Yep.
They don't have a fucking coach, a fucking life coach. They don't fucking they go buy stupid shit because what else would you? They don't know what smart shit to buy is. Yep. The first thing they'll usually go buy their mama house. I mean, yeah, you gotta look out, and then they'll buy cars and chains and shit. They don't know, so it's like I remember myself seeing that to him, like, why would you do that? But that's because I don't have $1 million in the bank account. If I did at that age, I would do the stupidest shit too. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like what else would you're seeing money for the first time. Your hands are itching. You don't know what the fuck to do with it. It takes time. Even if you had like a financial coach, it's gonna take time and maturity for you to really understand life. It's a process. Nobody is. It's easy to be 40 and look at that and be like, oh, that's not smart. Yeah, but you're 40. So
going through everything that I went through, there's a lot of things I would have thought myself through. Like I could say that I have no regrets because I had a lot of damn fun. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But the government was going to do what they were going to do regardless with that situation.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if I were to go through it again, one of the things that was really important to me was in improving my family's life. So I was able to move my parents down here. You know, they lost their house. I moved them down here, got them in a nice house, hired my dad and my mom, you know, gave them both really good salaries. My mom didn't even want to work because my dad was making a lot. So she was like, I don't want to work. I was, no problem. You know, I'm just happy that you're happy. But you know, I would have definitely, most of the really, really smart business guys I know, they pay themselves a modest salary and they just have money invested into projects all over the place. You know, like my partner Jared, he's got so many companies. You know, he's got some companies that are making him a lot, some that aren't, but it all balances out and works out pretty well for him. And he's got a part of all these different things. And the parent company, High Tech, makes products for literally everybody that you can imagine. So there's that going on too. So he you know, he's very like frugal. Like if he wants to go on a nice trip, he'll do it. But you know, he's told me like he's gone through like phases when he was younger of doing those things too. So I also think that for me and you know other people I think could understand this is I grew up like relatively poor, you know, so like I used to, you know, a lot of times we didn't even have food, and you know, if whatever my mom could get with food stamps, my mom was working two jobs, and you know, there'd be times where we didn't have food, and she'd be like, "Go ask for the kids' quarters," you know, like in the lunch line because lunch was $1.75, so kids would have $2, and I would just be like, "Hey, can I have your quarter?" So kids would give me their quarter, I would get a couple bucks, go and buy myself food. Principal eventually called my mom and was like, "Your son is a bully. He's a panhandler." And my mom was like, "I know how I raised my son. He's kind and he's polite. And if he wants to ask nicely for a quarter, and if they want to give it to him, then that's their choice. But we don't have any money, you know." So I always like when I was starting out in bodybuilding, people have their different reasons for doing shit. But I was like, man, I want to make a lot of money. You know, I was like, I don't want to be poor. I want to be able to go and buy whatever I want. And there's a lot of people that aren't like that. You know what I mean? So for me, and I know Aaron was similar. Like Aaron used to, it was different in the sense that Aaron would get these ideas, right? And I would see him like looking on the computer, and I'd be like, "What are you looking at?" It'd be like a Rolex, you know. And he'd be like, "I want this watch," and I'd go over and I'd look at it. I'd be like, $40,000. And he'd be like, "Yeah, but if we sell this much and we do this and this, then it won't be that much of a deal for me to buy it. So that's my goal." And he would just set his goals like that. Like that's how those were things that motivate him. But then he'd go hustle his ass off, you know. So I don't know if he's still like that. You know, we don't talk like that anymore. But there's something to be said, like once you do all the fun shit, I like to know that I could take care of my family at any time. That was very important to me. And now, honestly, I can't really do that anymore. So my motivation is to be back to that again.
I feel like you will be.
You're a hustler, man. You're a hustler. You're always gonna figure out a way. It's gonna be a lot tougher now, probably, but yeah, you'll figure out a way. I'm sure.
Once I get off this probation, it'll be a lot different. I'm working on something with somebody right now. This tech guy, he's very intelligent. I've known him for a long time, and he's working on this app, and he brought it to me to show it to me. And it's going to really change the way that people in fitness use photographs, and it's really neat. No one's done it, and I'm glad that he asked me to be a part of it. So you know, I think next year, you know, you'll see, you know, it available for people. Pretty cool.
Fire. I like that. All right, let's do one more. Are you surprised to not see Nick Walker on the Arnold list?
Am I surprised? No.
I guess not. No, I feel like he needs a big win,
Yep.
but what would that be? I mean, there's other big shows. You got the Pittsburgh. You got you have New York. He's won the New York a few times, but I'm sure if he won Pittsburgh, New York, or Detroit is newer, but I feel like it has prestige. I don't know if he would do that show though, but yeah, he still has other opportunities. If he was going to do the Arnold, I feel like he would have said it already.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. He just needs to go back to what got him out there in the first place. Just be a big giant freak. Stop
yeah,
listening
yeah,
to other people telling him stuff and just go with that because that's the kind of bodybuilder he is. You know,
yeah, yeah.
if he can do that, then he can go and jump in whatever New York Pro, one of these shows, win, and you know everybody will be talking about him again. You know.
Yeah. He seemed to always thrive when people kind of counted him out. Like, you won't win New York. Okay, you won New York, but you can't win Arnold. Okay, you can't be top 5 Olympia. But then when he did all these things, well, then now you're kind of like a front runner, you know. So you go from the underdog to the front runner. You can only go up, right?
Yep.
If you stay the same, you failed. If you go backwards, you failed.
Mhm.
And he hasn't actually went backwards. He's
No.
kind of stayed around the same level, which to people, you know, because people want to see, they expect everybody to do a Samson every year, just leapfrog more. That's not how it works, though. Like,
No.
everybody's working hard. Everybody has great genetics. So it's just the reality of life, you know. He hasn't actually fell off. I mean, he missed 2 Olympias, but the other shows, I mean, he hasn't moved back, you know. But I think it feels like that to people because he's not like just rising like crazy, right? But he definitely has to make it to the Olympia, and
Yeah. Oh yeah.
you know, and he has to place the top 5. He can't place any
Mhm.
lower than that. You know, that's just one of top 3. Top 3 is tough. It's really tough. It's tougher than it was back then
Yep.
when he was 3rd place. So that's gonna be. It's not impossible. It's definitely not impossible. But that's gonna be a challenge. I'm sure. I'm
Mhm.
sure he knows that's gonna be a challenge.
Mhm.
But top 5 is well within his reach, and
Yeah.
I think he'll be top 5. You know, I don't know what the general public is gonna think about it. I don't know if they're gonna be like, oh, that's bad, or I don't know. I think we who understand how bodybuilding works know that that's a great top 5 at the Olympia is crazy.
If you can be consistently in the top 5, I mean, that's what the greatest bodybuilders of all time. That's what they did. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Kevin Levrone, Chris Cormier, all these guys that were consistently right there. They weren't winning them, but
Yeah,
they were
yeah,
right there all the time. And then that's what it takes when you're on that level. You know?
100%. Put like this: Hunter was 4th place like 3-4 years ago. Hunter is way bigger, way leaner, built up back from scratch, more separated, more detailed, better posing, better tan, better haircut.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking, and he moved back like 3 placings.
Yeah.
That's how good the competition has got. William Bonac was 2nd not that long ago. You
Yep.
know, so the competition is increasing. So if you can even hold your spot or around your spot, that means you have to improve like crazy just to hold your spot. You know,
I would
imagine if
like to
Hunter
see
was.
Big Robbie come back. That's what I would like to see.
Me too, me too. Because people have a short memory. So right now it's like Big Ramy is they act like he's dead. You know,
Yeah.
like but he was literally Mr. Olympia not that long ago. You
Mm-mm.
know, but people forget about you. Boom, like nothing. Nobody's talking about Michael Chris though. Everybody forgot about Chris though.
Yeah. Everybody forgot about him. Yeah. Yep.
they'll forget you miss one show and they'll forget about you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like you don't exist. You know, but it kind of paves the way for a good comeback story. I just don't know if Ramy has that desire. You know, it seems
I
like
know it's he had such amazing potential, you know, so fast, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I wanted to see what he could really, really do with it, you know.
We talked about Keem. I think the judges are very hard on Ramy.
They're very hard on Randy, dude. They're very hard on Randy.
You go back 6-7 years ago when it was like he has to get in shape, and it's like he was never fat on stage. You
Uh-uh.
know,
Uh-uh.
like when you compare him to Phil, he wasn't Phil conditioned, but he was that New York Pro. He had shredded glutes. He had lines, he had math, but they were so hard on him that he didn't win until like those guys kind of went off. But he wasn't better. He was harder. He had more muscle maturity.
Yep.
But I don't think he was a better bodybuilder when he won than before. Per se.
No, I mean, he was a little harder. That's it, though. They were very, very hard. It was almost like they like decided like, hey, we're going to be brutally hard on this guy just because he's so much bigger and more aesthetic than everybody else.
When your potential is high, sometimes you get. I feel like Cedric. Granted, Cedric did come off. He came more off than Ramy has.
Yep.
But Cedric was being critiqued hard as well, just because when you have that much potential, you get that first win, then they want you to just get so much better.
Yep.
And it's hard to do that, But yeah, Ramy hasn't, and even at the Olympia to go down to fourth was really
surprising too.
So yeah, he hasn't got. Maybe he doesn't like that. Maybe he feels like he is being judged hard. I don't know, but let's see. Hopefully he comes back. But
did they say what the prize money at the Arnold is this year?
Oh, I don't think they have. I think Arnold's gonna wait till the last second.
Yeah.
Hey, if I know Arnold's ego properly, Jake went to 600 grand.
Mm-hmm.
So Jake beat him by 100 grand. He's not going to go up 100 grand. If he goes up, he's going to go up more than that.
I don't see why he shouldn't just go to $1 million at this point.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he did, because it's not going to come out of pocket. I mean, he has the networks to raise that amount of money.
Of course, yeah.
And I gotta be. I think his ego is at a point that if he had to come out of pocket, I think he would.
Yeah, I mean, for him, that's pump change. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's not. I mean, he could give the whole million himself and not even be a big deal. You know, but knowing how he is, he's not gonna let this go. I don't actually. I mean, Jake Wood does really well for himself as well. Jake could do $1 million too, but Arnold, he has to be the first to hit $1 million because that's Arnold. He don't play about that shit. I feel like right now it's a full blown competition between him and Jake. Arnold will not let Jake win that competition. I can't see him doing that.
I know it used to be a respect thing with Joe Weider and everything, but I mean,
out the window.
At this point now, I mean, Arnold's, listen, I wish he lives to be 100 and whatever, but he's getting up there now. Why not just I'm solidifying my show as the number one show in the world. I'm the number one bodybuilder all time. I'm going to give $1 million to the winner,
Yeah. Go out with a bang, because the truth is,
these guys some money, man. These guys get paid so much less than every other sport.
Yeah, man. I mean, Arnold, if somebody's going to go out with a bang, we don't know how long he's going to be here. Yep. Much longer. If somebody's going to go out with a bang, it's going to be Arnold. Arnold is going to go out with a bang. So I honestly think, don't be surprised if you see, because he already crossed that 500,000, 600. He's not going to say we're going to go 700.
Yeah,
I think Arnold's going to knock it out the park, to the point that he wants to make Jake nervous as fuck. I think he wants a number that Jake can't match. And if Jake can't match it, then we got a problem. Then it's like, yeah, because they both, they're not going to want each other to win, which is great for the sport. Keep going up, going up, and let's keep bringing like the other placings up too, just because it's only going to be one winner. So let's bring the other. So
what are they giving for the what did the Olympia give to the other classes? Like, what did 212 get?
That's a good question. I gotta ask him. I gotta ask Keon.
Yeah,
what did Keon get? I mean, in the past, it's been like, what, 60 grand, 50, 60 grand. I would hope it was more than that now, but because they get the same as Classic, I believe. I think Classic, Men's Physique, and 212 get the same, but I don't agree with that. I think 212 should get a bit more, but I guess it depends what they're going by.
Yeah.
They don't have 212 at the Arnold neither, so.
No, I know that.
That's rough, yeah. But PJ, I don't want to keep you on too long, and I gotta check on Kane, make sure he's not freaking out in there. But thanks for coming on, man. It's always nice chatting with you, man.
I always have a good time with you.
You know why it's cool? Because like we're both bodybuilders at heart, but I think we like to talk. We like to talk about everything and anything. Yeah. So some bodybuilders honestly don't really care about anything else that's going on in the world. Which I mean I respect it, because it's a fucking mess. You know, but
Yeah.
when I'm with bodybuilders, I actually prefer to talk about everything else.
Me
You
too.
know, to talk about stories, talk about girls, talk about life, talk about kids. I mean, the whole nine. I think I like people who are deeper than just one avenue. So we always get along with that. But
Yeah, that's
PJ,
good.
man, but hopefully everything goes well with the whole your conditions as far as the parole and everything like that. And I'm positive. I personally believe that everything's gonna work out the way it's supposed to.
Thank
You know
you.
that's usually how life goes.
Thank you,
You're
brother.
you're you're a good person. As long as you're a good person, I feel like things usually work out.
No, I appreciate you saying that.
I want to see that. All right, brother.
All right,
I'm gonna
brother.
talk to you, brother. Yes,
Take care,
sir.
man.